Sit back, relax and enjoy listening. As soon as SV disappears beyond the doors, the heavy silence she leaves behind lingers in the air. No one dares to speak at first, as if her presence still weighs down on them. The team stands frozen, exchanging uncertain glances, their minds struggling to process what just happened. Member 4 exhales, almost in disbelief. That was... He shakes his head, eyes still fixed on the door. Unreal. Member 1 crosses his arms. More like terrifying. Did you see those reporters? These are the same people who'd shove cameras into burning buildings if it meant getting a story. And they just ran, like scared little kids. Member 3, still looking shaken, mutters. Did you see their faces? The reporters? The security? They weren't just scared, they were terrified. Like their lives depended on getting out of her way. Member 2 mutters, voice low. She didn't say a word. She didn't do anything. And yet she erased everything. I'm serious. I've never seen a person do something like that. She walked in, and the whole world just... He gestures at the empty space where the media once stood. Collapsed. Who has that kind of power? The weight of those words settles over them. Member 5 huffs, shaking his head. That's not power. That's something else. And whatever it is, I don't want to be anywhere near it. Member 1 adds, it's pure terror. Don't you see how people were terrified running for their lives? The words settle over the group, and for a moment, no one disagrees. No matter how effective she was today, the truth remains. This wasn't normal. The kind of power that makes people run for their lives without a word being spoken. That isn't the kind of power any good person should have. But then, Jill, who has been quiet this whole time, suddenly speaks. His voice is calm, thoughtful. Whatever it is, it saved us today. Member 1 scoffs immediately. Saved? You think she did that for us? Member 2 shakes his head. She didn't come here because she cared. She just exists in a way that forces everything else to stop. Jill crosses his arms. So what? Member 4 scoffs. That's not power, Jill. That's fear. She didn't earn respect. She made people terrified for their lives. That's not a good kind of power. Jill exhales, his voice firm. I don't see anything wrong with it. Silence. The air in the room tightens as the words settle. Every member turns to him, eyes widening in disbelief. No one speaks, but the tension is loud enough to feel. Jill doesn't waver. His expression remains calm, unwavering. They deserve this. Member 3 blinks. Jill, what the hell are you saying? Jill looks around the room, his voice steady. They didn't understand when we spoke. They didn't care when we pleaded with them to listen. They wanted to ruin someone's life just to get their story. They were willing to twist everything, to create chaos just for their own gain. And you think they're the victims? No one argues, but the unease lingers. They've spent their entire careers believing they have power just because they're reporters. That they can say whatever they want, ruin whoever they want, and hide behind the excuse of public interest. Well, today they finally learned what real power looks like. Member 1 hesitates. But Jill, is it okay to have this kind of power? Where people respect you only because they're afraid, where they think you can destroy them in seconds. Jill tilts his head slightly. And whose life did she destroy today? Silence again. Jill presses on. No one's, right? She didn't do anything. Not even a little. But those reporters, they were using their power to destroy RK's life. So tell me, who was misusing power today? No one has an answer. Jill leans forward slightly, voice unwavering. I'm not saying it's good to have people terrified of you. But for people like them, it's necessary. Because without fear, they wouldn't have thought twice before ruining someone else's life. The room falls silent. And this time, no one argues.